At these two difficult scenarios. So the first trolley problem at the top, I asked folks, well, what morally should you do? Should you let this trolley keep barreling down the track and kill 5 people? Or morally, ought you to pull that lever, divert the trolley, and kill the one person to save the 5? Now, in my experience teaching this class, most people, not all, but most people say, oh yeah, the consequentialist reasoning seems like the right kind of reasoning to use here. You should kill one person to save 5 because, well, that's the best outcome, the best consequences overall. Well, then I say, oh, okay, so if you think that's the right reasoning, we should just apply that very same reasoning to the scenario on the bottom here. There we've got a trolley barreling down the track again. If it keeps on going, it's going to kill 5 people. But this time, instead of facing the choice of whether to pull a lever or not, you're just facing the choice of whether to throw this large person off of the bridge. If you don't throw him off the bridge, trolley's going to kill 5 people. If you do throw him off the bridge, well, he'll die, but he'll stop the train and those 5 people will live. So it's the exact same consequences as in the first scenario. Don't do anything, 5 people die, that's the consequence. Do something, 1 person dies. That's the consequence. So if you're a consequentialist, it should be straightforward. Oh yeah, of course. Just like you pulled the lever before, what you ought to do is push this person off the bridge now. But a lot of people get really squeamish and they reverse course and say, oh, no, I thought you ought to pull the lever in the first situation, but here you definitely should not push this person off the bridge. So just psychologically, their reasoning seems to be shifting to something else, and it's kind of hard to see what sort of reasons would make it make sense for why you ought to pull the lever in the one situation, but that you ought not push this person off the bridge. Let me give you another situation that might scramble your thinking about this even more. So this time, instead of dealing with trolleys run away on a track, suppose that you are a doctor in the emergency room, and down the hallway in the organ transplant wing, there are 5 people who are all going to die if they do not get organ transplants. A couple people need kidneys, someone needs a heart, someone needs a lung, someone needs, another lung, I guess. So you're kind of like, no, this is terrible. All these people are going to die. We don't have organs for them. When it turns out someone comes into the ER with a sore throat, they just need to, make sure they don't have strep or something like that. So you do some routine blood work on this person, and lo and behold, it turns out that this person who's got a sore throat but is otherwise perfectly healthy, this person is a perfect match to be an organ donor to all 5 of the patients down the hallway. And so now, you could give this person like a prescription for azithromycin and send him on his way. He'll live a long, happy life, but all those people down the wing will die. Or you could kill this person with the sore throat, harvest their organs, transplant them into these other 5 folks, and then you'll have 5 people who will live and just 1 person who will die. Now, if you stick with the consequentialist reasoning that most of you probably started with in our first trolley situation, it seems pretty clear that what you ought to do is kill this patient, use his organs to save these other 5 patients. But again, most people, not all, but most people say, whoa, that would be seriously wrong for you as a doctor to kill this one patient just to save 5 others. And so it seems like you're using some other kind of reasoning other than consequentialist considerations to think that killing this person would be morally wrong. And so we should cast about and see what other kinds of reasons might there be that would make this action morally wrong. And one alternative to consequentialism, kind of the major alternative that folks have come up with, is the theory of deontology. Comes from the Greek word onto, which just means duty. So deontology is the study of duties. And what deontology says is, look, What determines whether something is right or wrong just doesn't depend on the consequences of the action. Instead, it depends on whether that action is respecting people's rights and is an action that is consistent with you performing your duties as a person. So a deontologist says in order to do actions that are morally correct, you have to respect other people's rights and perform your duties. Now, of course, what you might already realize is, well, a lot of this is going to depend on just what rights and duties people have. Just like what consequentialism tells you to do depends a lot on, well, which consequences you think are good and which consequences you think are bad. So there are lots of different flavors of deontology depending on what rights and what duties you have reason to believe that people have. So what I'll do in the next couple videos is take a look at some of the different flavors of deontology and how those flavors of deontology contrast with flavors of consequentialism.